Welcome to Super Happy Dragon Lucky. The show will begin momentarily.
But why, some say, the moon? Why choose this as our goal? And they may well ask, why climb the highest mountain? Why, 35 years ago, fly the Atlantic? We choose to go to the moon. We choose to go to the moon in this decade and do the other thing. Not because they are easy, but because they are hard. Because that goal will serve to organize and measure the best of our energies and skills. Because that challenge is one that we're willing to accept, one we are unwilling to postpone, and one we intend to win. We choose to go to the moon.
Hello, welcome to Super Happy Dragon Lucky. This is episode BRT 0xbc, the 190th episode. And a reminder, nothing on the show is financial advice, and stay tuned after the updates for the weekly AMA. Right now, the new current events segment, we were going to use something posted for essentially about all of the things going on in the world with BRICS and NATO and Saudi Arabia coming back together. There's a lot of crazy stuff, especially amid everything going on with the banking industry this week in the U.S. and what's going to happen with the dollar or what's going to happen with the banks. But anyway, that's what's going on in the world, and there's probably way too much to talk about there to do it quickly. So anyway, let's go to the next, let's see here, the first update. Sorry, I lost part of my screen here. So on updates, it is last week's distribution for Super Happy Dragon Lucky. There were 544 lot NFTs created. There were 3 questions or topics for 84 lot each. There was no featured post. There were 2 current events, one from anonymous, so not included in the calculations. The other to receive 84 lot, and the host received 84 lot, and Dragonchain received 168 lot. Let's see here. The next update with Dragonchain was that, and this does include Den as well, we updated the auth system, that the migration of that part happened, and it's been rolled out live. So you would have new passwords for the console and Den, and that essentially is there to get us ready for factor integration, specifically for Den. If you have any issues, make sure that you DM the Den user or the JoJo user, or send an email to info@dragonchain.com. And we'll try to get on anything you see. I've even seen a couple. I know some of the team have tried to test everything we can, and there have been some issues that have also been, at least for mine, mostly related to caching and or cookies and other things. But either way, get in there, make sure everything is running, and tell us if you have any issues, so you can get everything migrated. Next, we did release a capability brief on comprehensive blockchain scalability. And at a high level, it goes over hybrid architecture with context-based verification, something that Dragonchain, I guess, pioneered, you would say, that effectively we solved the scalability issue architecturally, and it works. It's been proven. It's a pretty amazing thing that it works as well as it does even. And this also includes economic scalability, which matters very, very much to a decentralized verification network. And we've solved that with time. And there's a patent on that even. And that we've demonstrated scalable deployments. And even with this migration effort, we've demonstrated that the individual components and chains can be moved around, deployed different ways, in different environments, in ways that weren't expected in the beginning. So it's a very interesting thing, very powerful thing. You should share that if you can. Help out Dragonchain and help out blockchain, help out tech by sharing that info. So now we'll go to updates for Den.Social. And starting today is the March 2023 LCP commitment phase, the Lair creation process commitment phase that we've been running for years now. And per a DenDAO vote, the winners will be the #1 Lair proposal as ranked by unique voter, the #8 Lair proposal as ranked by the amount of lore committed, and the #21 proposal as ranked by lore committed. So all commitments need to be made by next Tuesday, March 21st at 1000 hours Eastern Daylight Time US and 1400 hours UTC. So make sure you get in there and vote with the lore that you've earned and figure out which layers should be created next. Also, if anybody has any ideas, again, now would be a good time to make a proposal for a different ranking system for the LCP. You could even propose, hey, let's try this for 1 month and see if it works, and then it would shut off unless people want to do it again if you want. So whatever, I'm just interested in seeing some differences in the algorithm. So let us know if you see anything that we could try. Next update, Coffee with Den airs tomorrow at 0900 Eastern Daylight and 1300 UTC. Everyone who participates in the show will earn Coffee with Den lot NFTs. And the topic this week is road trips. So make sure you join and ask questions or provide topics for them to talk about if you can. And they have a new system that they just I think it passed, but that they just voted in, which would award people for comments made in the replies on the show post and participation and everything else. So take a look at that and see what you can earn. Next, we go to the DenDAO updates. So join us for the weekly DenDAO call on Thursday, March 16 at 1500 hours Eastern Daylight and 1900 UTC. And watch for the post in the DenDAO Lair for the agenda and a link to join live. Everyone's welcome to join. It's a meeting, so you don't need your camera on. It's not a show or anything. So it's pretty casual conversation, just whatever comes up. Now we'll go to the World Blockchain Roundtable updates. Make sure you watch and share last week's episode. It was, what would your blockchain game show look like? It was actually kind of fun. We actually had a fun game show in the current events segment, and it was interspersed with the questions, so it worked really well, and it was fun. So watch it, share it, get it out there. Episode 95 will be this Thursday, March 16th at 1100 Daylight and 1500 UTC. The topic is blockchain for restaurants. Make sure you leave a question or a subject to discuss and join us live. And then the World Blockchain Roundtable DAO vote is up and available for voting for the April theme selection. So if you have ever participated in getting questions in or getting, or being on the show for that matter, make sure you get in there and vote, because you would have World Blockchain Roundtable DAO lot, and you would have a vote in this. The top 4 themes by vote, by ranking, will be used for the April shows. So there are 4 weeks in April coming up. Should be fun. That's it for the updates. AMA is right after this.
Now, more than ever, our data is at risk. Our supply chains are in jeopardy. Our systems are broken, and businesses feel powerless. Dragonchain gives you a different way, a safer way, a better way, and you have power over your data. Dragonchain gives you proof in an untrusted world. Build now at Dragonchain.com, America's blockchain.
All right, we're back with the AMA. So we're going to refresh the screen and say that every participant with a unique question will get a lot from the Dragonchain Lair. The same question will be credited to the top voted reply. That makes sense. And I reserve, as always, the right to revise and extend my remarks. Let's see here. So the first question is, or topic is from I am for I am. Question about Den. I was asked this question about Den, and I don't think I answered it well. How would you pitch Den to a news and politics YouTuber that is looking for these three elements? So if they're looking for these three elements, right, that it will not be, or sometime in the future, shadow banned or censored. So they are two different things, right? Because censorship, number one, is, it's a hybrid system. So somebody could say, oh, it's not purely decentralized, so it could be censored. And it's like, well, it can't be censored necessarily, because you can always pull it down. And although it's not precisely there right now, it used to be, the blockchain proof is available. We need to get that added. That's a big thing, right? Probably more important than we think, because it's not something that we're competing with other systems on. So frankly, maybe it's more important, but it's not something that people readily think about when they think about what should be added next. And it's something that's reasonably simple to do, because all the blockchain data is already there. So our biggest thing, and the reason we pulled it off, is it was not pretty. It was hard to make it, to generate it in a report format that would be digestible easily. But we could make it like the Eternal system, where you can click a link and it'll just download the full verification data, so that you can pull that aside and always prove that you posted this and everything else. The shadow banned, it's a DAO. The best thing to point to is that it's all transparent, and the DAO has the final say in all such things. There's no shadow banning of content right now, and not that there would ever be, but that the DAO would have to say that would be something that people would want, which I highly doubt, especially since some of us own a lot of that DAO. We wouldn't want that. So maybe the best thing there is to say that it's governed by its users and its contributors and the people who are building on it. And those people governing such things would be meaningful, right? So, okay. So number one, I think that's there's probably more detail we could provide there, and we could probably even brainstorm some better ways to describe that. But anyway, number two, can Den generate income from their content, or can denizens generate income from their content? For example, looking to replace YouTube's meager income. And by the way, YouTube's income is not a declared or DAO controlled algorithm, right? And I know, and I don't have a gigantic network of people like this and e-celebrities and things like that, but I know from Seattle at least one group that they were making a tremendous amount of money, and overnight they changed the algorithm, and this group was totally, shut out. It was all of a sudden they had to go look for a regular job, and you have to think about that. The fact that it's not transparent at all, that is driven by unseen forces, and it's typically going to be from the investment stack or somebody who wants to push something that they're going to drive. Oh, we want, we've seen it on this show and on World Blockchain Roundtable, especially, where the numbers are not reporting reality. That we know that they manipulate the view counts and things like that. Everybody does. So that's a big piece. And what we do is purely by algorithm, as transparent as we can get it, and of course growing in that direction as well. That we want more of the system open source. We want more of the system, the data to be transparent, but it has to be done safely for privacy reasons, among other things. So, and to make sure that people aren't as easily able to manipulate. There are some reasons to keep some stuff while we figure out how it works still. So given that, I would say, yes, you can generate income, especially, I would say, we saw it at the beginning where some people were making posts that, for example, were providing content that were, getting hundreds of dollars from a single piece of content. So if you did this consistently throughout time, and this was very, very early, so we figured that would grow. But at the same time, there are economics that pulled in people who were there surely just to churn, to put content up, to get rewards, to cash out, to pay bills. So nothing you can blame them for, when they need to feed their kids and things like that. But we do have some solutions designed that will help the economics of it. And so, we're in discussions with a few other parties on building that out, figuring out what we can do with it. But I would say number 2 is a definite yes, especially when we grow the user base and the content base and get some more consistent advertisers in there to help push content. And then 3, how can I show my sponsors how many views for a posting on Den? So we have I would call it mediocre feature that actually would show the number of views of any given piece of content. Some of it was pulled back because we had some issues with whether it was accurate or not. And so we need to do a little more of that. I know we are tracking, for instance, every single view to a post there's a pool that rewards that, right? So anybody who shares something, it shares with a unique code, so they get clicks. Now, there was some manipulation there as well. So we're looking at, how to modestly avoid or attenuate some of the manipulation. And that'll, when that's improved, the metrics will be much better than something on, like, say, YouTube or somewhere else, because you will have an actual count on chain that would tell you potentially even more than what some of those other systems report the analytics for. So anyway, that one is improvable. Right now, it's not there as it should be because we pulled back on it, but we have the data for it already. So we had originally a partnership with a group that for which we were building a suite that would be more of a channel based or a business or influencer focused interface, so that you could get an upgrade and have extra tools. And we held back on that because they didn't get the funding we expected them to get, and all the rest of it. But still, it works, So we expect that will, when prioritized, become a thing. So anyway, if somebody, for example, were to come in, we could custom build some things for them, which would be particularly valuable, and then could roll some of those out to others. And there might even be some really unique ways to monetize those new capabilities as well for anybody that would come in and do that. All right. So, okay. Anyway, next question. Jacob Wayne, do you think it's possible to get some sort of transactional protocol or escrow type coding created for the Marketplace Lair? Probably not a priority, but it'd be neat to see that layer take off and become its own OfferUp or eBay style market based in Matter and maybe other tokens. I'm sure. I mean, the Marketplace Lair, it could be something as how do I say this? Manual as if anybody was. There are a couple of communities like this, but I actually participated in the mechanical keyboards community on Reddit a long time ago, and you would essentially it was all run procedurally. Essentially, if somebody replied first, they would win. Say, somebody would make an offer. I'll sell this this keyboard or key set for this amount of money, and somebody say, sure, I want it, and they say okay, and then they would essentially send the money by PayPal or Bitcoin or whatever, and then they would ship them. And you would have to look at people's. There were sites that would maintain reputation for these that people could complain on and everything else, and so you could do things like that. For something like what some of the people were doing with trading lot to say, hey, I have too much of this and I'd like some of that. It would be awesome if we could plug in something that would act as an escrow and act as something that would make sure there was no scaminess going on. Now, the great thing is that can be very easily controlled, and we could run it through smart contract. And there's but I think the higher level question is, how do we plug that in? Should that be the Marketplace Lair doing that? And we just let them, we give them an API interface to plug in, or is there some other way? And there's a lot of stuff behind that I'd really love to get to the code after we finish the migration, after we finish a couple of these other projects. It would be really nice to have the code open sourced so that we could expand the resources, so that basically anybody out there could say, hey, you guys, it'd be better if even if this button said this instead of that, and they literally, instead of just making a governance issue request, they commit the code, they make a pull request to merge that new code into the system, and then it goes through a DAO vote to approve or deny it. And then that would be beautiful and brilliant. We might even be able to plug directly into the software repository if it makes sense. But either way, it would be an amazing system, and that could even be something that would push DEN's usage in reasonably significant projects where they have a need to have governance for this open source project, or if it's already a DAO, that it could actually control the code for their website and for their algorithms and whatever else they're doing. So anyway, fun stuff. So yes. Oxons, is there a marketing plan to promote Super Happy Dragon Lucky? It has less and less audience. I think we have more today than we did last week. But anyway, it's just the same people, though. That doesn't matter. They're all the same good people, the best people in the world, and the most beautiful people in the world that are watching. But either way, it's an update show. If we were still doing interviews and trying to push something else for content, it might make sense. But I think as it is, we've all kind of said, hey, this is just where we do the updates, where we can pull in and get you an AMA every single freaking week, so that people don't go off to Telegram or any of those places and spread a whole bunch of negative energy, right? Whatever it is, it's all negative energy. So this is where you can come, and we'll answer your questions directly. All you have to do is come in and ask them, and on top of that, you get rewards for asking them. So we think it's a pretty good set where it probably gets boring, which it maybe is the point that, I don't want to leave it for a month and not answer questions that should have been answered 3 weeks ago, right? So this way, you guys always kind of know what's going on, and best we can get everything answered, and keep everything simple. The next question on there was Dave's proposal for the current events, which he got. So everybody got credit today. It's awesome. 3 questions. So that's all the questions. Let's see here. So when we have no other featured content, so that's good. This week, this month, merch is the Super Happy Dragon Lucky merch. It's all the moons and the freaking, I think there's a Mars one in there. But either way, it's 10% off this month with the code SHDL-2023. Make sure you go there. It's at Dragonchain.Store. And in closing, make sure you watch us again next Tuesday. And make sure you like and comment and share this episode. Also, don't forget the roundtable on Thursday at 1100 Eastern, 1600 UTC. And make sure you follow Dragonchain, Real Denizens, and Jojo Row on Twitter, and follow us on Den and LinkedIn and everywhere else. That's it. Thank you. Bye.
Because that goal will serve to organize and measure the best.
Adaptable, all capital, label radical yet rational. Adaptable approach is palpable if this animal is fallible, but that conclusion is laughable. So with for all detachable from the mandible, you see it now.